2 years ago today, I posted a video called Season 3 Premiere, which, I thought my channel was a TV show, but in that video, I showed off that I had bought not one, not two, but 300 Japanese games and would be starting a series called Nihon no Konyu Shokai, and that's how me showing off Japanese games started. And so to celebrate 2 years of this series, going on way more frequently in this past couple months, but I just want to show off. I want to go back to the roots. I think the first episode we did was a Famicom episode. Famicom, of course, being the Japanese NES right before it became the NES in North America. Japan got the Famicom, Nintendo's first foray into the home console market. And I just picked out 5 more Famicom games that I want to show off. So happy 2-year anniversary of Nihon no Konyu Shokai. We still have a long way to go. I've won more Japanese games over time. And we still have like over 100 games to talk about, or like 150 games to talk about. So, I had gotten busy and had put a pause on the series because it takes a lot of work to research these games, but I'm glad to be doing this mostly with frequency again, and I hope you guys will continue watching them. But let's dive into the games for this part 3 of Famicom, I'm pretty sure. Here we go. First game I want to show off is Ganbare Goemon Karakuri Donshu, which is, again, on Famicom. And I think, if I'm not mistaken, Chris at Rewind Arcade, go check out his channel. I'm pretty sure he's talked about Goemon games before, or he's talked to me about Goemon games before, or I could be totally wrong. Chris, don't think I'm crazy, please. And Goemon is actually a pretty famous series in Japan. So Ganbare Goemon is a Konami-developed and published game series that started with Mr. Goemon in Japanese arcades in May 1986. The series itself is set in this alternate timeline, mystical Middle Ages Japan, where you play as the titular Goemon, who is somewhat based on this Robin Hood-like figure from Japanese folklore, which is pretty cool. The games are supposed to be parodies, they're supposed to be humorous, and they have spanned a couple different genres, but have pretty much mostly been stuck in Japan. I think I counted out of 20, 30 plus games, only 5 came to North America, and they came to North America under the title Mystical Ninja. The one that always pops out to me right away is one on the N64. So if you ever see Mystical Ninja on Nintendo 64 here in North America, it's based on the Goemon series. So like most other Japanese media franchises, Goemon spanned into manga, it spanned into anime, but of course we love it when the games come first. So the series has been mostly dormant since 2011, with a new mainline title not releasing in 20 years, but we can at least talk about this second game in the series. I realized I put this up way too early, but this is the second game in the series, releasing in July 1986, so just a few months after the first arcade game, and it was again developed and published by Konami. So it's the first home console game in the series, and you play as Goemon as you have a pipe, and you have a yo-yo, and it's an action-adventure, and your goal is to search for passes to unlock new provinces in Japan that you can explore, and you get upgrades via items, all with the aforementioned goal of stealing from the rich and taking from the... stealing from the rich and giving to the poor. Sorry, you're not taking everything. Stealing from the rich and giving to the poor, just like Robin Hood. So that's all I really need to say about the game. There's probably a lot more to say about the game. I think the series itself is a little bit more to talk about, but a direct sequel would release 2.5 years later in January 1989, but this specific game never came to North America. Like I said, a lot of the games in the Goemon series did not, but this game did get a few interesting ports. So the first main port was a MSX port, so the MSX is a home computer. That was less than a year later on the MSX in February 1987, and it was also ported to the Famicom Mini series on Game Boy Advance. So if you're familiar with the classic NES series that we got in North America on the GBA, that's what the Famicom Mini series is. So this game has a GBA port, just like Donkey Kong Country does here in North America. I realize that's not Famicom Mini. Like the original Super Mario Bros. That's a better example, and that came in May 2004. Now, what's really interesting, though, is it also got virtual console releases. So it got a Wii Virtual Console release in 2007, a 3DS Virtual Console release in 2013, on the Wii U in 2014, and not on Switch Online. So it got Virtual Console releases on the Wii, 3DS, and Wii U, but not on Switch, which is really weird. I think that's odd, but also like the MSX version also got a Wii U Virtual Console release in 2015. So there were two ways to play this second Goemon game on the Wii U, the Famicom version and the MSX version. So that's a little weird, but yeah, Goemon. Next up is a funny guy. I like this vibe a lot. This is Jumpin' Kid Jack Tomame no Ki Monogatari. I think I said that right. And this is, if you can't tell, I don't think it's super obvious, but this is a video game adaptation of none other than Jack and the Beanstalk. So this game released in December 1990, being developed by Now Production and published by Asnic Ace. And I don't think we've ever talked about Now Production, but we could talk about a few of the games that they're responsible for. Tons of very niche to very classic NES and Super Nintendo games, but some that stood out to me were a Goemon game on PS1, to connect from the last game. There's also Pac-Man World's Repack on modern systems, so like the Pac-Man World remaster, if you will. And I gotta play that one too. But also a personal childhood favorite, Little League World Series 2008. So that's just a baseball game on the Wii. But I love that game a lot, so same developer. I think that's kind of funny. So this game never came to North America, despite it being initially planned to release in North America. But the game is essentially an early Mega Man platformer with bean power-ups and different stages and the like, all with the hopes of saving your girlfriend. And that's all there really is to say about the game. It's just a Mega Man clone, but Jack and the Beanstalk themed. We love beans. Next up is a game that I was excited to talk about just because of the sport. As you know, I'm a big hockey fan. So this game is Stick Hunter Exciting Ice Hockey. That is the title. And this is a December 1987 hockey game developed by Micronix and published by K Amusement Leasing, which is a pretty funny publisher name. But Micronix is also a studio that's responsible for a couple other classic NES games. So like 1942, Sun, and Ghosts and Goblins are all Micronix. So that's pretty cool. So as it sounds, it's a hockey game. I'm a big hockey game fan, but I always find this kind of thing funny because ice hockey is probably not even remotely close to a top 10 sport in Japan. And this is a Japanese-only Famicom game, so that's kind of weird, but it's also very interesting because this game is actually the first ice hockey game to release on the NES. The one that people know a little bit more is the black box or blue box Nintendo ice hockey that released just a month later. So Stick Hunter Exciting Ice Hockey beats that by a month. I think that ice hockey was actually on Famicom Disk System. I'm thinking of the NES version, but still, this game came first in Japan. I think that's kind of interesting. So, of course, it wasn't the most efficient ice hockey simulator, we would come to know, like the NHL series, but aiming is a big piece of the gameplay, and that can be kind of hard, that if you're not aiming the right way, you're not even shooting on net, you're not even passing to the right person. So that's that can be a little hard, especially if you're familiar with like modern controls where it's a little bit more handheld. But you play as several different countries in this game. So you have ice hockey powerhouses like the US, like Canada, like the Soviet Union. That is the name in the game. There's some other mid-range hockey countries in there, Czechoslovakia, Norway, France, kind of, but also then we have like bottom-tier ice hockey countries like England, and unfortunately Japan. So for context, Japan has had ice hockey since the 1920s, but has never ever been ranked highly internationally, and like that's not even a joke. For reference, the NHL is like the biggest, most competitive hockey league in the world, and only one player born from Japan has ever played in the NHL, and he only played for 4 games. So Japan being an ice hockey country would be a totally false statement. So to have this Japanese ice hockey game, I think is quite funny. So that's not a slaughter on Japanese ice hockey, but still very, very cool to add a piece of my favorite sport to the collection. So I really wanted to end with this next game because I think you will laugh at it. It is called Salad no Kuni no Salad no Kuni no Tomato Ime, or better known as Princess Tomato in the Salad Kingdom. Do you see why I love it now? What can possibly top this? I don't know. So this game was originally released on Japanese home computers in March 1984. It's a text adventure developed and published by the ever-famous Hudson Soft. And this Famicom port came 4 years later in May 1988. So contextually, I believe this is one of Hudson Soft's earliest games, like before they even had a North American release, which is really crazy. And I believe their goal was to try and mimic American text adventure games in this ridiculous vegetable-themed Save the Princess type of game. So, like, of course, here in North America, we had Oregon Trail, and that sort of popularized the text adventure. And I believe this is partially trying to spin on that initially in Japan. So, like, it's kind of cool for context. But the plot, let me just read it straight off Wikipedia because it's like one of the best plots ever. Taking the role of Sir Cucumber, a knight, the player is assigned by the now deceased King Broccoli to defeat the evil Minister Pumpkin, who has kidnapped Princess Tomato. Early on, Sir Cucumber gains a sidekick, Percy the baby persimmon. I don't know what that is. I'm pretty sure that's a vegetable. But the Percy offers advice and helps throughout the quest. We love those names. We love Minister Pumpkin. It's so funny. So the game would be brought to North America on the NES 3 years later, so 7 years after the initial home computer release, but was also popular enough to get a virtual console release in Japan and North America on the Wii in 2010, on the 3DS and Wii U in 2012 and 2014 respectively, but only in Japan and not on Switch Online. So kind of weird that we got it on the Wii, but not on the 3DS and Wii U. Probably because nobody bought it on Wii. And that's kind of a shame because on NES it's like $200. If it wasn't $200 here in North America, I'd probably be all over it. But like Princess Tomato and the Salad Kingdom, how do you top this? Well, I tell you how to top this, because even though I wanted to end this video with that, I gotta respect the classics. I gotta talk about a game I really, really like, and that is, of course, Monopoly. So I don't need to say much about the game. Monopoly's reputation kind of precedes itself. But prior to this May 1991 North American release and this later November 1991 release, there have been a few different video game adaptations of Monopoly. So let me go through those. So in 1985, there was a home computer version ported to 4 different computers only in Europe. Again, the original Monopoly is from like almost 100 years ago, I'm pretty sure at this point. So 65 years, something like that, to get a home computer release only in Europe. That was 1985. In 1988, the first home console version was on the Sega Master System, only in North America and Europe. So there's that. In 1988, Monopoly Deluxe was the first home computer version here in North America, also went to Europe. So to this point, North America and Europe has a home console version and has a PC version. And finally, we get to this version in 1991. So if you didn't catch that, North America and Europe, again, had home console versions, had PC versions, but I haven't mentioned Japan once. So this game came out in North America first in May 1991, and the first video game adaptation of Monopoly came here, this November 1991 release. So that isn't super surprising to me because Monopoly is a very, Americana type of game, but it is still pretty crazy that it took so long for it to get to Japan. Maybe just, I don't know, Japanese developers weren't really into it. But yeah, that's pretty cool. I think this is pretty neat. It's also pretty neat because this version released hand in hand with an original Game Boy version, a Super Nintendo version, and a Sega Genesis one or Mega Drive version. So yeah, like Japan got a bunch of different versions all at once of Monopoly, but still very interesting release history for Monopoly itself. I love Monopoly. I have a few different versions of it. I've actually played this NES version a little bit before, and for being Monopoly in 1991 on the NES, I'm not going to lie, it's actually pretty good. It's pretty snappy. Not my favorite way of playing Monopoly. I personally prefer Monopoly Party on GameCube or PS2 if you have that. Strongly recommend going to get that because you can add really good house rules. And yeah, so I had to end with Monopoly as a very, very big fan of Monopoly. In the event that my friend Matt is watching, Matt, we still got to play a game of Monopoly that doesn't have house rules, because I know you don't play with house rules. But whatever the case is, that is all I wanted to show off in this video. A couple Famicom games. So as a way to celebrate 2 years of doing this series, I hope this was a good celebration of that. Also, I would like to humbly thank everybody who watches the channel. I think we just, at the time of recording, we had just crossed 100 subscribers, which is really cool. I never really expected this thing to go anywhere, but to have 100 people or 100 friends that want to watch my videos and just watch me talk about Japanese games for 15 minutes like once a week, I think that's really, really nice, and I really, really appreciate all you guys. So thank you so much, and we'll just keep cranking on Japanese game videos or other stuff. But yeah, thank you guys genuinely so much. 100 subscribers is a pretty cool milestone to hit for somebody who doesn't really have any expectations for this channel, but I digress. So with that said, I hope you learned something. If there's anything I missed about these games, I didn't really say a whole lot about like Jumpin' Kid or Goemon, or about the games specifically. Please let me know, correct me, or tell me whatever I got wrong or missed. I would love to continue learning about these games as much as I have hopefully taught you something. So with that said, I'll see you guys next week for something else, and bye.